Not too long ago, a company's product roadmap was treated like a state secret, locked away in a vault. But these days, we're seeing more and more of them out in the open for everyone to see. So, what's going on? Why this huge shift towards transparency? Well, let's get into it. The old way of doing things was all about keeping your cards close to your chest. But that strategy? It's really starting to backfire. Today, silence isn't golden, it's a liability. See, when your users have no idea where your product is headed, they don't just sit around and wait. They start to wonder, they start to make assumptions, and that's when trust starts to quietly disappear. And this is the massive shift we're talking about. The old way was a messy world of secret internal documents, where users were left to guess what was coming next based on rumors. The new way? It's all about putting it out there, giving everyone visibility. It's about creating real clarity and getting everybody aligned, not just your own team, but the very people using your product. Honestly, the real villain in this whole story is just silence. When a company goes quiet about its direction, it creates this information vacuum. And you know what happens in a vacuum, right? People will rush to fill it with their own ideas and assumptions. And that creates this huge, often invisible risk for any product. So in that silence, your users are asking themselves some pretty tough questions. Things like, is this thing even being worked on anymore? Or does anyone over there care about what I need? And then there's the big one. Should I really bet my time, my data, or my company's money on this? These are the exact doubts that silence creates. So how do you fight that silence? You send a signal, a really clear one. And that signal is your public roadmap. But here's the absolute key. This is not about making rigid promises with exact deadlines. No. It's about starting a conversation and showing people, hey, this is the direction we're headed. So a modern public roadmap is really just a communication tool. Its main job is to give users a window into three things: the product's general direction, what the team's priorities are right now, and the overall intent behind those choices. The point isn't just to list a bunch of features, it's to kill the ambiguity about what's coming next. Most of the time, when users get frustrated, it's not because a feature is missing. It's because their expectations didn't match reality. A public roadmap acts like an anchor. It creates a shared source of truth that sets those expectations early and gets everyone on the same page. Okay, so what's the actual payoff for doing all this? Well, when you get it right, the benefits create this incredible ripple effect. It goes way, way beyond just keeping your users in the know. Let's be real. In today's crowded markets, your competitors can copy your features in a heartbeat. But trust? That is so much harder to replicate. When a customer can see where you're going, it calms their uncertainty. That transparency makes your product feel like a safe, predictable bet, and that builds a kind of loyalty that money just can't buy. And here's another awesome side effect. A public roadmap totally changes your relationship with your users. They go from being these passive consumers just sending in random requests to being actual collaborators who are invested in where the product is going. Think about it. Without a roadmap, feedback is just reactive, right? It's a giant wish list of disconnected ideas. But once users can see your priorities, their feedback suddenly has context. And then you get to the best part. They start giving you collaborative input, helping you actually refine the path you're already on. The quality of the feedback just goes through the roof. And hey, while this all sounds like it's for your customers, some of the biggest wins are actually internal. The second a roadmap goes public, it forces a level of clarity that's tough to get otherwise. It aligns everybody, sales, marketing, you name it, around a single plan. Your sales team can now sell the future with real confidence. And it even helps with recruiting, because you attract people who are genuinely excited about your vision. Okay, but let's get real for a second. A public roadmap is not some magic wand you can just wave over any business. It's a really powerful strategy for sure, but it is absolutely not the right move for every single company every single time. So, is a public roadmap always the right call? The short answer, nope. In fact, there are definitely times when putting one out there could do more harm than good. You should definitely hit the brakes if you're a super early stage company where your priorities are changing every week. A roadmap would just make you look unstable. Same goes for heavily regulated industries where any forward-looking statement can get you into trouble. But honestly, the biggest red flags are internal. If your team is a mess and totally misaligned, a public roadmap won't fix it. It'll just broadcast your chaos to the entire world. So what about those two big fears that always come up? First, oh no, our competitors will steal our ideas. The reality is, anyone can have ideas. Actually executing on them well, that's the hard part nobody can easily copy. And second, what if we miss a deadline and everyone gets mad? The fix for that is simple. Share your direction, share your priorities, but don't share hard dates. You're communicating a plan, you're not signing a contract. So, the real secret to making a public roadmap actually work comes down to understanding one crucial difference: the difference between commitment and communication. See, you really have two roadmaps. Your internal one is for commitment and execution. It's filled with heart dates, technical details, all that nitty-gritty stuff. But your public roadmap, that's for communication and alignment. Its job is to show broad direction and strategic priorities. They're just two different tools for two completely different jobs. And that's really the core idea here. The magic of a public roadmap isn't about revealing some big secret plan. Its power comes from getting rid of all that damaging ambiguity that festers in silence. It replaces all that guesswork with a shared understanding. So I'll leave you with this. Think about the products you use every single day. Is their future a shared conversation that you're a part of, or are you and everyone else still just playing a guessing game? That's the question.